Harrison Butker is the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champion. He stirred controversy, Jimmy, this past weekend when he gave a commencement speech at Benedictine University. Butker made several remarks that sparked backlash, particularly expressing a conservative position on women's roles, LGBTQ rights, and abortion. So it created this backlash and this controversy. So, of course, they're going to ask the QB, my homie, right? and what did Mahomes have to say? And I think this is important. He said, we're not always going to agree. And certain things that he said, I don't necessarily agree with. But I understand the person that he is. And he is trying to do what he can do to lead people in a correct direction. That might not be the same values I have, but at the same time, I'm not going to judge him by the character. Or I'm going to judge him by the character I see every single day. And he's a great person, and we'll continue to move along and try to build each other up to make ourselves better every single day. What he said was, buy my jersey, whether you're conservative or liberal. I love everybody. I'm Patrick Mahomes. Buy my shoes, buy my jersey. That's what he said. But so my question for you, Jimmy, is as a professional athlete, as somebody that played at a high level, should athletes be voicing these political opinions and I'm bringing this up. Should players just shut up and dribble? Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, that was stated by and got a lot of controversy because Fox News host at the time, Laura Ingraham, was talking about LeBron James commenting on President Trump at the time. And she basically said, hey, we don't want to hear about your political opinions. Shut up and dribble, right? Which was a rude way basically just to say, hey, we want to watch you play basketball, LeBron. We don't want to hear you. We don't care about your political opinions. You're not a political commentary. So, Jimmy, do you think players should just shut up and dribble, or you think it's good for them to stand up and like what Mahomes said, encourage people to do the right thing?
Well, I think it's great for players to step up on the platform and use it for the communities that they come from, or for, things that, as a society, we might want to bring to light or need to have discussions about. But when we do, or when they do, they, I think it's incumbent upon the athlete to, kind of be in touch with the climate and the political climate and the words that you use. There's nothing wrong with what he said. It's just, maybe, not saying it the way he said it. And because it's just all those are topics. I like when I read what he said, I was looking at it like, well, that's a lot in a short amount of time. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that was said over a course of time, but it's written like he just was insensitive or didn't really, know much about it and just was just spewing a bunch of things at one time. So that's what's dangerous about, being an athlete and having these public forums and then being quoted on certain things or being lumped into certain things when you're just trying to, shed light on an issue.
You make up a good point. You bring up a really good point, Jimmy, which is if you have a platform and you can influence good, you should do that.
Absolutely.
And I completely agree with you on that. Unfortunately, it's almost like there needs to be like this unwritten agreement that it's okay if I say something you don't agree with. Like, because he was talking to his audience, like you said it very well. He was talking to his community. He was preaching to the choir. He was he was encouraging people that had the same beliefs that he has to do good. Right? Okay, fair enough. All right. And I think that's what you're saying is, that's okay. So, but the problem with that is, as a professional athlete, is there's a whole nother side to the things that he said.
Right.
There's a whole group of people that don't agree with what he said. And so
Exactly.
I know he wasn't speaking to them, and I know he wasn't trying, but those people, and this is the problem, and this is where Michael Jordan was almost so brilliant with his comment, which is one of my favorite comments of all time. Republicans and Democrats both buy basketball shoes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you
So
know, one thing to be,
he didn't
which is, which is
comment.
which is also interesting is, you know, when you give a commencement speech, usually the protocol is you write the speech, you send it in, it either gets denied or approved, or it's edited, right, for approval or to get approved. So somebody approved the speech, unless he really went up there
No, he
and
didn't.
pulled a
They approved
second
it.
speech out of his jacket.
But why wouldn't Benedictine, of course, would approve the speech? It's positive, right, for them. Here's the thing, Jimmy, that I think I've changed my opinion while we've been talking about whether or not they should shut up and dribble, right? Because what I really think is, I actually agree with your comment that it's almost like, hey, if he wants to talk about that and encourage people, and that's a positive message for a group of people, then you know what? If you don't like it, that's okay. Just shut up. Maybe they need to shut up, right? It's okay, because guess what's going to happen? At some point, you're going to express an opinion that maybe somebody
Correct.
doesn't agree with.
Nobody,
and would you like the opportunity to encourage those people and express your opinion to the people that want to hear that? Of course you would, right? So
Absolutely.
I think silencing people because you don't agree is really, really bad, because then you might get silenced when they don't agree.
Right.
And so I don't know. Maybe it isn't shut up and dribble. Maybe it's just you got to understand the consequences of it and deal with it. But I don't think it's bad for players to, like, you know, Mahomes influences. Jordan never picked a side, but he made community impact. That is undoubted.
I mean, you know, when you're a marketer or advertiser, or, you know, you're selling to people, you don't want to discriminate. And you can't lump everybody together. You know, don't judge a book by its cover.
That's right.
You know, so I think that's what MJ wanted to, you know, steer away from. And I think he did a great job of it, because even though he took backlash on, you know, the Black community now, you know, thinking that Michael didn't support the community, as he is more concerned about, you know, selling shoes. But the other side of that is Michael also doesn't run around, you know, holding his chest out or patting himself on the back for the things that he does do. So
he did get beat up about that at points in his career, when there was, you know, they thought that he had a big voice and he should be somebody to speak up. And he stayed out of it. So it's an interesting topic. I'm sure this won't be the first time we discuss this, Jimmy, because this obviously comes up every now and then with different situations and different issues. So, but I think it's a good conversation to have for people to, you know, to have these conversations is good. And I actually think what Mahomes, I was joking that Mahomes' comment was like Jordan, but like, I think what he said was the right response. I support my teammate. I respect what he believes in. I may or may not agree. It's not really your business, right? I may or may not agree. I support him. I know he's a good guy, and he supports me, and we're a team, and that's it. And so I thought,
only judge them. He can only judge him on what, you know, he sees every day when he comes to practice, and he shows up and works every day. That's the Harrison Butker he knows, which is a great name, by the way.
It is a
good
good
name. On the all name team,
just
like Xander Schauffele.
Xander.
I'm gonna find a way to put his name in